Obviously, he's coming up against Max Holloway in a great fight. How do you see that matchup between those two?
Personally, I think because it's at welterweight, I see Conor knocking him out. Like, everyone's counting Conor out and thinks that Max is going to win. If it goes to the later rounds, yeah, Max definitely probably start piecing him up on the feet because he's got that cardio and the volume. But the fact that it's at welterweight, I think, favours Conor because Charles made Max look small at lightweight. So imagine how big Conor's going to look compared to him at welterweight.
They're a very familiar foe of yours. Max Holloway will be welcoming Conor McGregor back to the octagon next month, we all hope. If this fight does happen, it's at welterweight. How do you see this going? Can Conor do anything with the fighter you're probably more familiar with than anyone in Max Holloway?
Well, we know that Conor hasn't been in the game for a long time, and I think a lot of people are thinking that he's just going to lose everything, but that's not the case. He's going to be dangerous. He's obviously going to still be very sharp, very explosive, still got a good eye. Is it the exact eye that he had when he was double champ and doing what he was doing? No, probably not, but still going to be very dangerous. And I know Max is going to respect that. Obviously, they're going to want to put on a show, but at the same time, you're going to know Conor will be very dangerous early. I think Max will make the right decisions to not just get in the fire straight away, and then start to work him later in them rounds. We know that Conor, again, very dangerous, very explosive, but that is going to wear on you. And with that big layoff, even though he's probably training very hard, we know that that's going to eventually wear on him. And that sharpness that I reckon he still has is probably going to deteriorate a lot quicker because of he's been out of the game for so long.
It has to, like, this Conor McGregor fight in July is going to be fucking bananas. It's going to be bananas. I mean, people are going to go crazy for the return of Conor McGregor because he's a giant personality.
But don't expect the same.
How could
you just can't? The problem
it might be more
because they're going to all expect that.
I think it is a little over 5. It's almost 6. I think
it might be 6 at the time of the fight.
It might be. I think it's 5. I think it's 5 right now.
Are we expecting to see a Conor that looked like Nate this last fight? Or are we expecting to see a better Conor than someone that looked like Nate? Because Nate did not look good.
No, but Mike Perry did. And Mike Perry looked like a fucking murderer.
You know what I mean? Like
Mike Perry
is Conor McGregor really walking back into his prime? Or is everyone about to watch a legend get exposed? Welcome back to Punch in the Face. If this is your first time here, hit subscribe, because the debate around this fight has split the entire MMA world. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why nobody can agree on how it ends. Let's start with the hype itself. Because even before anyone talks technique, there's a real buzz building around this return. Analysts covering the build-up don't hold back. One flatly predicts the fight is going to be chaos in the best possible way, driven purely by how big a personality McGregor still is, even after all this time away. But almost in the same breath comes a caution. Don't expect the same fighter people remember from years ago. That's the tension right there. The size of the moment versus the real question of whether McGregor can still deliver inside it. It's worth pausing on just how rare this kind of build-up actually is. Most returning fighters get a tune-up opponent, someone lower ranked to help them shake off the rust before jumping back into a marquee matchup. McGregor is skipping that step entirely, going straight into one of the more dangerous, durable fighters currently active in the sport. That alone tells you something about how this camp is being framed. Not as a cautious re-entry, but as a full statement fight, win or lose. And the layoff itself is a bigger deal than people realize. There's actual disagreement among insiders over exactly how long McGregor has been out. Some say it's closer to 5 years. Others insist it'll be a full 6 by fight night. Either way, we're talking about one of the longest active career gaps for a fighter this famous ever. For context, his most recent appearance against Michael Chandler didn't leave people impressed, and neither did his outing against Nate Diaz years before that, which raises an obvious question everyone keeps circling back to. Are we getting a version of McGregor closer to his best, or a version closer to those rougher, rustier outings? That question gets even more interesting once you factor in age. Normally, when a younger fighter is thrown in against an older veteran, it doesn't end well for the veteran. But here's the wrinkle. Holloway isn't actually that much younger than McGregor. The real separation between them isn't age. It's activity. While McGregor's been almost entirely out of competition, Holloway has stayed in constant, high-level action the entire time, winning a BMF title fight, beating elite competition, staying sharp in a way that simply isn't possible from the outside looking in. That distinction matters more than most fans give it credit for. Ring rust isn't just about technique fading. It's about a fighter's internal clock for pace, distance, and pressure getting completely reset after years away, something no amount of gym sparring can fully simulate. Then there's the weight class wrinkle nobody saw coming. Some analysts genuinely believe Holloway's best version of himself lives at lightweight, not welterweight. But since this fight is happening at 170 pounds, that changes the calculation entirely. No brutal weight cut, No drain tank walking into the cage. Some insiders think that actually makes Holloway even more dangerous, not less, because he gets to walk in at a natural, healthy weight instead of hollowed out from cutting down.
You know what I mean? Like
Mike Perry is a murderer.
He's a murderer.
And this is
such a savage.
You take a look at that, and when you're taking an older fighter, which Nate is now, and you're
21. You're 5 fucking years ago, July. So it literally will be 6 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
But when you're
it'll be 5 years. It'll be 5 years.
When you're taking a younger fighter and putting them against the old dog, it normally doesn't end well for the old dog.
Well, the thing is about Max Holloway is Max Holloway isn't
he's young.
that much younger
Yeah.
than Conor.
He's not.
But the thing is, Max has been in constant high-level competition the entire time. Won the BMF fight, beat Dustin, constant high-level competition.
That's right.
It's a different thing.
And I honestly believe him at 155 is the best thing for him.
Absolutely.
But he's not 155 in this fight.
This is
170.
170.
But
yeah.
honestly, he might even be
no
better.
weight cutting at all.
Just no weight cut, just kind of walk around.
And also, knowing this is such a high-profile fight, he's going to... Max is always in insane shape. But particularly in this fight, he's going to be in fucking insane shape.
And his last fight...
Like anyone that knows the game knows he's evolved a number of times. He's had his setbacks. What do you make of Conor McGregor's assessment of Max Holloway? Do you believe he's being legit here when he's saying this? Or do you think this is just a part of him sort of underselling Max and trying to get into his head, doing the whole thing about how he's his son, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Do you truly believe he thinks he's the same fighter that he beat?
I think he thinks it. I think he's wrong. But
you actually think he believes that, though? Come on,
yeah,
he's not
Conor
an idiot.
McGregor's a deeply delusional person, and we don't have to go down this particular side of this road too far, but of the things that I think he doesn't believe that he's saying in that interview, I'm much more inclined to believe that he is pretending when he's talking about, I no longer care about the material things in life, and this doesn't matter to me. I am a man of faith, and I'm not going to talk numbers because that doesn't mean anything to me. If we're picking an order of things that I think are bullshit, I think that one's much more transparent bullshit than Conor McGregor, notorious weirdo, believes that his opponent is beneath him. That rings incredibly true to me.
It is interesting if that's if he thinks that about Max, there's going to be some issues there. Also found it interesting, man.
Huge miscalculation on his part, but yeah.
Yeah, huge miscalculation. I liked to hear him say that it sounds like, and I don't know how much I believe this because of what we know about the way that he trains. Sounds like he's training a little bit more safe. He's talking to training partners about what they're working on. He's wearing protective gear, all the stuff that basically riddled his body and made him this injury problem in the past, where he would just literally go there and just basically fight guys in the gym, right, with no structure, and just go until his bones were destroyed. It sounds like he's sort of fixing some of that. But again, I guess the biggest thing with Conor McGregor is always going to be John Kavanagh isn't telling him what to do in the gym.
So naturally, the prediction question comes up directly. Who wins this thing? One voice doesn't hesitate. Holloway, not because of friendship or bias either. In fact, this particular analyst is upfront that he and McGregor aren't especially close. His reasoning is simple. McGregor was a 2-division champion, made all the money and fame that comes with that. But none of it matters if the mental switch isn't fully back on. And there's a real belief that if McGregor's motivation is genuinely at its peak, the switch can flip and a dangerous version of him can resurface, even years removed from his best form. But that same analyst adds an important wrinkle. McGregor's threat is front-loaded. Early in the fight, before fatigue sets in, he's still considered dangerous on the feet with real knockout power. The concern isn't whether McGregor can hurt Holloway. It's whether he can sustain it deep into the fight. Then things shift into what might be the most direct temperature check of the entire build-up. A conversation with someone who's actually shared the cage with Holloway before. His take is nuanced. He doesn't buy into the idea that McGregor is just going to fall apart the moment the fight starts. If anything, he expects McGregor to still be sharp, explosive, and dangerous early, even if it's not quite the same he had at his absolute peak years ago. His prediction hinges on Holloway making smart decisions, not diving in recklessly, letting McGregor's early danger cool off, and then grind him down as the rounds progress, betting that the long layoff will catch up to McGregor physically once the pace demands sustained output. But that wasn't the whole story. because McGregor's own comment about this fight are just as much a part of the conversation as anyone else's predictions. In his own words, McGregor isn't just confident. He's framing this entire comeback as him entering his athletic peak, not leaving it. He describes Holloway as durable and skilled, but insists that mentally and physically, he's simply not on his level. He brings up Holloway's staggering amount of accumulated time spent inside the octagon across his career, more than almost anyone in the sport's history. And instead of treating that as a badge of honor, McGregor spins it as a weakness, arguing that spending that much time in wars with opponents means Holloway isn't finishing fights the way a truly elite striker should. According to McGregor, what he brings that Holloway can't match is speed, raw power, fight IQ, and freshness, since he hasn't spent years absorbing damage the way Holloway has. He goes further, claiming their first fight wasn't competitive at all, and pointing out that whatever improvements Holloway made afterward were actually built by studying and adapting things from McGregor's own game. Whether or not that's fully accurate, it's a claim clearly designed to plant doubt, suggesting that even Holloway's growth as a fighter is, in McGregor's telling, downstream of McGregor himself.
So I think a sober McGregor, a McGregor who's leaning more into his faith, I think we will see a much better version of the McGregor we've seen in recent years, but I still don't think that's going to be enough to beat Max Holloway. I will say as well, just kind of as a last caveat, we have seen a lot of upsets this year, right? The time I'm recording this, I'm just a couple days removed from the whole, Justin Gaethje and Ilia Topuria fight. A lot of people didn't expect that to happen. Something's in the water this year, so maybe McGregor does pull it off just by the way the MMA gods have been going, but I can't, with any conscience, pick Conor McGregor here. I have to go with Max Holloway, and I think he does it by decision. So let me know your thoughts in the comments on this fight, how you think this one goes. Let's put it this way. Is anyone here picking McGregor? I don't think we're going to see many people picking Conor McGregor. Even the biggest McGregor super fans, I don't think are.
But I think obviously like Conor is kind of like, he just has a good physique in general. There's never a time where you see him without his shirt off and he looks like shit.
Yeah, fair.
You know what I'm saying?
He's jacked. He was jacked for a minute on his Lamborghini boat.
He has a great physique, bro. Like
I saw him set up like a circus tent or something in his front yard for his gym. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Do you know where that was at?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's like a full-blown circus tent that he just made a pop-up gym. I mean, he's been doing a lot of press. We haven't seen him do this much press in a long time, fight-focused press. He looks very healthy, very clean. I mean, I think this might be a different Conor, though, right? His age.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Because there's a lot of pressure because he's got all the money in the world, and congratulations to him for that. And he's got all the accolades. What he did for the sport will never be forgotten or probably repeated. But he's lost his last few. And 5 years ago, he lost and he got knocked out before that. And all three of us know this as fighters. That's what we pride ourselves on. And that's what he prides himself on. And he knows Max Holloway has been fighting the best routinely, staying active. So if you're going to underestimate that guy and come back after 5 years and not train properly.
Yeah. He also brings Justin Gaethje into the conversation,
decides to make his comeback
almost
once
as a way
again.
of drawing
The
a
fight
contrast.
arena is not a
He
problem
points out
for
that
him,
Holloway
having
finished
suffered such a
Gaethje
serious
decisively,
injury like a
knocking him
broken
out
leg
cold,
that has
but
affected
frames
other
Gaethje himself as wildly inconsistent, dangerous when he's on, sloppy and easy to read when he isn't. It's a strange detour in the middle of a Holloway breakdown, but it serves a purpose. It lets McGregor dismiss the quality of one of Holloway's most impressive recent wins without directly attacking Holloway himself. If the opponent Holloway beat wasn't that special to begin with, the logic goes, then the win doesn't really prove much either. And what happened next would shock everyone who thought McGregor might be playing it safe with his predictions. He doesn't just say he expects a win. He calls it a demolition, clinical, spectacular. He says a win alone isn't enough for him this time. It has to be a statement. He even frames his long time away not as a disadvantage, but as the exact opposite, claiming he's more rested and fresher than any of the other high-profile comeback fighters currently active in the sport. There's also a surprisingly reflective angle buried in all that confidence. McGregor talks about his time away from competition, not just as physical recovery, but as a kind of self-discovery, studying his own body, his mechanics, and what it actually takes to maintain himself long-term. It's a side of his comeback narrative that doesn't get nearly as much attention as the trash talk, but it's clearly part of how he's justifying, at least publicly, why this version of him should be taken seriously. Of course, not everyone is buying the narrative McGregor is selling about himself. Paddy Pimblett, surprisingly, backs McGregor to win, but not because of skill or freshness. His reasoning is almost entirely about size. He points to Holloway's past struggles against bigger lightweights and argues that if Holloway looked overwhelmed physically at 155, the gap at welterweight against someone like McGregor could be even more pronounced. In his view, getting hit by a full welterweight is simply a different animal than getting hit by a lightweight, regardless of skill level. It's a pick built entirely on physics rather than form or recent performance, which makes it stand out against most of the other predictions floating around. Sean O'Malley takes a different angle entirely, focusing less on physical tools and more on McGregor's mental state. According to O'Malley, this version of McGregor seems noticeably calmer and more focused than the version fans have seen in recent years, and that shift alone makes him believe McGregor could be dangerous again if that renewed focus translates into the cage. O'Malley also points out just how long it's been since McGregor's had his hand raised, suggesting that a win here wouldn't just be a result. It would fundamentally reset how people talk about him going forward. Not everyone shares that optimism, though. Tim Welch raises a more skeptical set of concerns, pointing to the sheer difficulty of returning to championship form after such a long layoff, especially in a 5-round fight, which demands a completely different level of conditioning than a quick, explosive appearance. Welch also questions whether McGregor is being thrown into an unnecessarily difficult first fight back, given how battle-tested and durable Holloway has proven to be over the years. In his view, there may have been easier stepping-stone opponents available, and taking on one of the most tested 5-round fighters in the sport right out of the gate is a considerably bigger risk than fans are giving McGregor credit for. Michael Chiesa pushes the conversation in yet another direction, arguing that far too much attention is being placed on McGregor's return story and not nearly enough on Holloway's ability to simply answer it. Chiesa dismisses the idea that McGregor could lean on wrestling if the striking exchanges get difficult, pointing out that Holloway's takedown defense and ability to scramble back to his feet make that game plan unrealistic. He also challenges the popular assumption that McGregor will walk in with a major size advantage, noting that Holloway is a naturally big athlete who's fully capable of competing at higher weights without looking small. In Chiesa's view, moving up to welterweight might actually help Holloway more than it helps McGregor, since it removes the brutal weight cut Holloway would otherwise have to endure. For Chiesa, this fight isn't really about whether McGregor can turn back the clock. It's about whether Holloway can close out his own comeback story before McGregor's even gets started. So here's where it all lands. Nobody agrees on how long McGregor's actually been out, whether his mental state has genuinely shifted, or whether his self-declared prime is real, or just another performance heading into fight week. Nobody agrees on whether the size difference at welterweight favors McGregor or actually benefits Holloway instead. And nobody, from former opponents to current title contenders, agrees on how this one actually plays out once the cage door closes. What's clear is that this fight has become bigger than a simple measure of skill against skill. It's a referendum on whether legendary status and self-belief can outweigh years of ring rust, and whether consistency and durability can outlast raw star power on the biggest stage the sport has to offer. So now it's your turn. Who do you think wins this one? McGregor's self-declared prime, or Holloway's experience and durability? Drop your prediction in the comments below. And if you're enjoying breakdowns like this, make sure you're subscribed to Punch in the Face, because we'll be covering every angle of this fight all the way through fight week.